Zane wiped the sweat from his forehead as he leaned over the battered hull of his freighter. The Orion trade belt was quiet that evening, filled only with the hum of distant engines and the occasional twinkle of a passing starship. His workshop was cluttered with tools, wires, and spare parts, but he liked it that way. Life as a mechanic was simple, predictable, and safe, or so he thought. As he tightened a panel near the ship's lower hull, a strange vibration ran through the metal beneath his hands. It wasn't like the usual tremor from the engines. This felt alive. Zane paused, frowning. He tapped the metal lightly, listening for a hollow echo. What he heard instead made his heart skip a beat, a low, resonant growl that seemed to come from inside the freighter itself. He crouched closer, his curiosity stronger than his fear. Using a small plasma torch, he cut through a thin layer of reinforced plating. Sparks danced in the dim light, and Zane shielded his eyes. When the smoke cleared, he froze. Glowing amber eyes stared back at him from the shadows beneath the hull. The creature was unlike anything he had ever seen. Its scales shimmered like liquid metal, reflecting the workshop lights in soft, fiery colors. Its wings were folded tightly against its body, but even in that position they seemed immense. Long, curved horns framed its head, and smoke curled from its nostrils. The growl became a low rumble, vibrating through the floor. Zane's pulse raced. He swallowed hard. "Okay, this is new," he whispered to himself. No human, or even the advanced species catalogued in the galactic registers, had anything like this. He glanced around, checking for cameras or anyone nearby. The freighter was parked in isolation, miles from the nearest trading station. If anyone found this creature here, it would cause a galactic storm. The dragon, or whatever it was chained. Thick metal shackles clamped around its legs and tail, etched with strange alien symbols that glowed faintly. The chains were attached to reinforced points on the hull, holding the creature in place. It wasn't just trapped, it had been imprisoned for a long time. Zane's mind raced. Who would capture something like this? And why leave it here, hidden on a freighter? Questions collided, but one thought was louder than the rest. It needed help. He approached slowly, hands raised. The dragon's eyes followed him, unblinking. Its growl softened into a cautious hiss. Zane felt an unexpected connection, a silent plea, almost human in its intensity. He reached for the nearest chain, testing the metal. It was cold but old, worn in spots. With careful effort, he loosened a shackle, holding his breath. The dragon's eyes flicked toward him, curious but wary. It made no sudden moves. Zane's fingers worked quickly, sliding a torch carefully under the lock. Sparks flew, but the metal began to bend. Inch by inch, he freed the creature. Each link removed felt heavier than the last, not in weight but in the responsibility it placed on him. Finally, the last chain fell away with a clatter. The dragon flexed its wings slowly, stretching muscles that had been cramped for far too long. It shook its massive head, sending a ripple of golden light across the scales. Zane stepped back, awestruck. For a moment, neither moved. Then, the dragon lowered its head toward him, sniffing the air around him. Zane held perfectly still, unsure if it would attack, or worse, flee into space, crashing the freighter. But instead, it did something he never expected. A soft hum vibrated through the hull, a sound almost like a purr, and he felt a strange warmth in his chest. You're not going to hurt me," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. The dragon blinked slowly as if understanding. Then it nudged the hull with its snout, careful and deliberate. Zane realized it was guiding him, showing him something hidden beneath layers of plating. He crouched again, lifting a panel where the dragon had indicated. Inside was a small glowing device. Symbols on it matched the ones on the chains. Zane had no idea what it did, but instinct told him it was important. The dragon seemed to trust him with it, leaning closer as if urging him to act quickly. A sudden noise outside made both of them tense. Zane peered through the workshop window. Nothing moved, but he couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, had noticed the freighter. Whoever had chained the dragon here might return soon. And if they did, Zane realized with a jolt, the galaxy itself might be watching now. The dragon let out a soft growl, almost like a warning, and Zane nodded. He wasn't just a mechanic anymore. The life he had known, quiet, routine, safe, was over. Whatever this creature was, whatever powers it held, they were now linked. Zane needed to make a choice. Ignore the danger and pretend nothing had happened, or take a leap into the unknown and protect the dragon. He reached out, letting his hand brush against the dragon's metallic scales. The warmth and energy under his palm made his hair stand on end. He could feel the strength coiled inside, like a storm waiting to be released. And yet, in those glowing eyes, he also saw trust, hope, and something unspoken. A chance to change everything. Zane swallowed, heart pounding. All right, he said firmly, more to himself than to the dragon. Let's get you out of here, safely. The dragon lowered its massive head toward him, almost reverently, and a soft vibration filled the air. The freighter felt alive in a way it never had before. Sparks, hums, and glowing scales mixed into a strange symphony, and Zane knew the first step of their journey had begun. The galaxy was vast and dangerous and filled with secrets, but for the first time in his life, Zane felt ready to face it all. As the last rays of starlight disappeared beyond the belt, the dragon stretched its wings, small sparks of fire dancing along the edges. Zane climbed into the cockpit, feeling the weight of responsibility settle over him. He didn't know what awaited, but he did know one thing: nothing would ever be ordinary again. Zane sat in the cockpit of his freighter, his hands still trembling from the encounter in the hull. The dragon, Caliph as it had quietly introduced itself through thought, lay coiled across the cargo bay, its glowing eyes following every move he made. The ship felt different now, as if the creature's presence had changed its very heartbeat. Zane couldn't stop staring at it, fascinated and terrified at the same time. "Can you talk?" he asked aloud, though he knew Caliph could hear him without words. To his surprise, a soft, deep voice echoed in his mind, calm and deliberate. "Yes, I can speak human. But not all words can pass through air. You must listen with your mind." Zane's pulse raced. Telepathy wasn't something he'd ever experienced, yet the words were clear and steady. "Why are you here?" he asked mentally, unsure if it would understand his question. "I was captured," Caliph replied. "Taken from my home, chained and used as a weapon. They wanted to control my fire, my strength. I was just one of many, until they abandoned me here." The weight of Caliph's words sank in. Humans had faced enemies before, but this was different. This was a creature hunted across the stars, feared and respected by civilizations far older and stronger than humanity. Zane realized the danger that lay ahead, not just for him but for anyone who got close to Caliph. "You mean, they want to weaponize you?" Zane asked, his voice shaky. "Yes," Caliph confirmed. "Some beings see life only as tools. My kind is rare, powerful, dangerous, and they want to use that power to conquer." Zane swallowed hard. "And they'll come after you again," he said, already feeling the chill of fear creep into his bones. Caliph's eyes glowed brighter, a silent acknowledgement of the truth. "They will. And they will not fail easily." For a moment, the freighter was quiet except for the hum of the engines. Zane studied the dragon, noticing the small scars along its scales, the weariness in its stance, and the careful way it kept its wings folded. Despite its fearsome appearance, Caliph was tired, vulnerable even. And Zane felt an unexpected pull in his chest, a mixture of empathy and responsibility. "I don't know if I can help you," Zane admitted aloud. The dragon's eyes softened. "You already have. You freed me. That alone is more than most can do." Zane exhaled, a little of the tension leaving him. "Okay, then what do we do?" he asked, leaning forward in the cockpit chair. Caliph's tail moved slightly, tapping the floor as it considered. "We hide for now. I can sense those who seek me. They are powerful, patient, relentless. We cannot fight them yet. We must be clever." Zane nodded, feeling the weight of the task pressing on him. His mind raced with ideas, modifying the ship, creating traps, using stealth to evade sensors, but the reality of the situation made his chest tighten. Hiding a dragon on a freighter wasn't like hiding cargo. This was alive, intelligent, and hunted. "I can make modifications," he said. "Reinforce the hull, change the sensors. Maybe make us invisible to long-range scanners." Caliph's mental voice carried a hint of approval. "Good. But we must move carefully. One mistake and they will find us. One mistake and it could mean the end for both of us." Zane's hands itched to start work, but he hesitated. How do you even survive in space?" he asked, curious despite the danger. Caliph's eyes flicked to the small viewport, gazing at the stars beyond. "I can survive for short periods but not indefinitely. My strength comes from life, from fire, from the world. The farther I stay from my home, the weaker I grow. That is why I must move carefully and why your help is vital." Zane realized the enormity of what he had just agreed to. He wasn't just a mechanic anymore. He was a guardian, a protector of a creature that could reshape the galaxy if it fell into the wrong hands. And yet, something inside him burned with excitement, a spark he had never felt before. Life had been simple, predictable. Now it was dangerous, yes, but thrilling in ways he had never imagined. "All right," he said firmly. "We hide. We stay low. And we get ready for whatever comes next. Caliph lowered its head, pressing it gently against the floor, almost like a nod of understanding. The bond between them grew stronger with every passing second, silent and unspoken but undeniable. Hours passed in quiet preparation. Zane worked on reinforcing the ship's hull, installing makeshift shields and recalibrating sensors. Caliph watched, occasionally offering guidance through subtle mental nudges. Zane marveled at how intelligent the dragon was, how it seemed to anticipate problems before he even thought of them. Every adjustment felt like a shared effort, a silent agreement that they were now partners in survival. As night fell across the trade belt, Zane climbed into the cockpit to survey the freighter. Stars stretched endlessly beyond the viewport, distant planets glowing faintly. He glanced back at Caliph, who rested calmly, scales shimmering under the dim lights of the cabin. A sense of awe washed over him. This was no ordinary life. He was not just a human mechanic anymore, he was a human with a dragon at his side, a bond that could change everything. A sudden flicker on the ship's sensors made him stiffen. Caliph's mental voice reached him instantly, sharp and alert. They're coming. Zane's heart pounded in his chest. He had known this day would come, but the reality was still shocking. His hands gripped the controls and he felt a surge of determination. "We'll be ready," he said aloud, more to steady himself than to inform the dragon. Caliph's eyes glowed, reflecting the dim light. "Yes, together." Zane took a deep breath, staring at the stars beyond. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers, but for the first time in his life he did not feel small or powerless. He had Caliph, and Caliph had him. Together they would face the hunters, the warlords, and the secrets hidden across the stars. The journey was only beginning, but already Zane knew one thing with certainty. The universe had changed and he was no longer just a human mechanic. He was part of something greater, something alive, something that could shock the galaxy. Zane's freighter drifted silently among the asteroids, shadows stretching across its hull as the dim light of distant stars flickered through the void. The tension in the cockpit was thick. Caliph, coiled across the cargo bay, let out a low growl that resonated through the ship's metal frame. "They are close," the dragon's voice warned in Zane's mind. Zane tightened his grip on the controls, scanning the radar. Tiny blips appeared at the edge of detection, fast-moving ships, sleek and deadly. The hunters had found them. He swallowed hard, heart pounding, but a spark of determination lit his chest. "We can't run forever," he told himself. "We have to be clever." Caliph's eyes glowed softly as it observed the sensors. "You're right. But speed alone will not save us. You must use the belt, the asteroids, your mind, and my fire. Together we are stronger than they expect." Zane nodded. He had spent years navigating asteroid fields, repairing ships, and surviving in the trade belt. Now his skills were a weapon. He maneuvered the freighter into the thick of the asteroids, weaving between massive rocks and narrow corridors. The hunters followed, their engines leaving streaks of light against the dark backdrop. "They will try to flank us," Caliph warned. Zane tightened the ship's shields and prepared for evasive maneuvers. As the first hunter ship shot forward, Caliph spread its wings and exhaled a controlled burst of fire into the vacuum. The flames licked the edges of the nearest asteroid, creating a plasma cloud that scattered the pursuing ships. Sparks danced across the metal of the freighter, but it held strong. "Nice work," Zane said aloud, feeling a rush of adrenaline. Caliph's glowing eyes met his, and a flicker of pride passed between them. "We are only beginning," it replied. The hunters adjusted quickly, firing magnetic nets designed to snag ships and immobilize them. Zane's freighter shuddered as the first net grazed the hull. He twisted the controls sharply, dodging another net, while Caliph swung its tail, knocking a third net aside. Every move required perfect timing. Every mistake could be fatal. Zane's mind raced, calculating angles, speeds, and distances. He activated hidden thrusters he had installed earlier, sending the ship spinning through a narrow asteroid gap. The hunters followed but were slower, their larger ships struggling to maneuver. One collided with a rock, sending sparks flying into the void. "Good thinking, human," Caliph said. "But they will not stop. They are relentless." Zane clenched his jaw. "Then we won't stop either." He toggled the freighter's stealth field, a risky experiment he had installed on a whim. The hull shimmered as light bent around it, rendering the ship almost invisible. The hunters fired blindly, missing by meters. Caliph hissed in satisfaction. "Clever human. You are learning quickly." They moved deeper into the belt, using massive asteroids as cover. Zane's hands moved automatically over the controls, guided by instinct and fear. Every turn, every acceleration, Every sharp move kept them alive. The hunters were skilled, but they had underestimated a human and a dragon working together. Suddenly, one of the hunter ships broke through the cover and fired a high-powered laser directly at the freighter. Zane dived to the side, but the blast grazed the hull. Sparks flew and alarms blared. Caliph let out a roar that shook the ship, and flames erupted from its mouth, hitting the attacking ship and sending it tumbling away, disabled but not destroyed. "That's one down," Zane muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. "Only a dozen more to go," Caliph replied calmly. The freighter's shields were weakening, and Zane knew they couldn't fight indefinitely. He needed a plan to escape the hunters for good. He guided the ship toward an asteroid cave system, a maze-like network he had discovered years ago but never dared to enter. Caliph followed, wings folded tightly to fit through narrow gaps. The hunters hesitated at the entrance, unsure if they could follow. Zane's heart pounded. This was their chance. "Trust me," he said mentally to Caliph. The dragon tilted its head but stayed close. Zane guided the freighter through twisting tunnels, scraping past walls by inches. Sparks flew as the hull grazed rock, but the ship held. Inside the cave, Zane activated a series of traps he had installed for emergencies, small magnetic mines and automated disruptors. As the hunters entered, the traps detonated, sending shrapnel and electric pulses into the passage. The enemy ships spun, collided, and fell behind. Zane's heart raced, but he stayed focused, maneuvering the freighter through the chaos. Finally, after what felt like hours, they emerged on the other side of the asteroid field. The stars stretched before them, calm and distant, as if nothing had happened. Caliph exhaled, a warm glow radiating from its scales. "You did well, human. Together we can survive this." Zane leaned back in the cockpit, letting out a long breath. "We survived," he said quietly. "But they'll come again. And next time they'll be stronger." Caliph's eyes softened, almost human in their expression. "Then we will be ready. I have strength and you have ingenuity. They will not expect what comes next." Zane realized something in that moment. Fear had been replaced by determination. This was no longer just a fight for survival. It was a test of skill, courage, and trust. Humans had always been underestimated, but he and Caliph were about to show the galaxy that even the smallest minds could outthink the strongest enemies. As the freighter drifted toward a distant, uncharted system, Zane looked at the dragon. Its eyes met his, glowing softly in the cockpit lights. A silent bond had formed, one born in danger, strengthened in fire, and tested in the void. They were partners now, bound by trust, skill, and the unspoken knowledge that the galaxy would never be the same. Zane tightened his grip on the controls and whispered, "Let's see what we can do next." Caliph responded with a low, approving growl. The hunt was over, for now, but the journey had only just begun. Together, they would evade the hunters, uncover secrets, and face challenges that would test the limits of both human ingenuity and dragon strength. And somehow Zane felt ready for it all. The freighter glided silently into the outer rim of the Veyron system, its engines humming low. Zane's fingers tightened around the controls, every sense alert. Caliph lay coiled behind him, wings partially unfurled, scales glimmering under the dim cabin lights. The warnings from the ship's sensors were clear. The warlord had arrived. His flagship, massive and menacing, loomed near the system's edge, casting a shadow that stretched across the planets below. "They have come for me," Caliph said, its voice calm but firm in Zane's mind. "And now they will attempt everything to take me back." Zane swallowed hard, feeling the weight of the coming battle settle on his shoulders. "We'll need a plan," he said aloud. "Something clever, something unexpected." The dragon's eyes glowed, reflecting both fire and thought. "I have ideas. You have tools. Together we can fight, not just survive but win." Zane studied the layout of the warlord's flagship on his display. It was heavily armored, bristling with weapons designed to obliterate smaller ships. Conventional attack was suicide. But Zane wasn't conventional. He activated the freighter's stealth field, making the ship shimmer and bend light. "We will approach unnoticed," he said. "Then we strike where they least expect it." As they neared the flagship, Caliph unfurled its wings and exhaled a controlled stream of plasma toward the outer defense drones. Sparks and energy arcs lit the void as the drones were destroyed, their circuits fried instantly. Zane's freighter twisted and spun through the debris, avoiding detection while Caliph's fire cleared a path. "Good," the dragon purred. "The first line is gone. Now comes the heart." Zane guided the ship to a narrow asteroid field near the warlord's flagship. The massive vessel couldn't maneuver easily among the rocks. Using the asteroids as cover, he piloted closer, preparing the next phase. Kalitha's mental voice hummed in approval. You understand strategy. Very human. Suddenly, laser turrets from the flagship tracked the freighter. Zane ducked instinctively as beams grazed the hull. Hold steady, he muttered. Kalith coiled, muscles tensing, and released a burst of plasma that disabled several turrets in seconds. Sparks rained across the enemy's hull, and alarms blared inside the massive ship. Now, Kalith said. Strike the core. Zane's hands moved quickly over the controls. He had studied the vessel's schematics from intelligence he had hacked earlier, noting vulnerabilities in the energy conduits near the flagship's core. Using precise maneuvers, he threaded the freighter through narrow gaps in the asteroids, dodging fire and debris. Kalitha's tail lashed outward, knocking away small attacking craft and shielding the freighter with bursts of heat and light. They reached the weak point. Zane activated the freighter's magnetic pulse device, a risky experimental weapon designed to disable energy systems. A wave of electromagnetic force surged from the ship, striking the flagship's conduits. The massive vessel shuddered, sparks flying from its hull as power fluctuated wildly. Alarm sirens blared across the flagship and lights flickered. Kalith roared, the sound reverberating through space and shaking nearby enemy fighters. With a powerful flap of its wings, it launched the freighter into a new position, using its massive body as both shield and battering ram. Smaller ships collided with each other in the chaos, their pilots panicked and unprepared. Zane guided the freighter carefully, dodging debris, lasers, and plasma bursts. We are close, Kalith said. One more strike, precise and controlled. Zane took a deep breath, feeling sweat drip down his face. He had only one chance. Using all his skill, he aligned the freighter's experimental disruptor with the flagship's core. Kalith exhaled a concentrated stream of plasma directly into the conduit openings exposed by Zane's targeting. Energy cascaded through the flagship, arcs of fire and light shooting across its surface. Systems failed, engines died, and weapons went offline. The mighty ship floated, crippled, unable to continue its attack. Zane leaned back, heart pounding. We did it, he whispered. Kalitha's eyes glowed with satisfaction, wings folding slightly. Yes. Together we did what many could not. You are clever, human, and brave. The remaining hunter ships hesitated. Without the flagship's command, their coordination faltered. Zane and Kalith didn't waste time. Using the asteroid field, the freighter evaded the remaining ships, leaving them lost and scattered among the rocks. Sparks and explosions lit the void behind them, a testament to the chaos they had caused. They will recover, Kalith warned. And they will try again. But now the galaxy sees something new. Humans are not to be underestimated. Zane nodded, exhaustion and exhilaration flooding his body. He had faced the impossible and survived. He had faced a warlord's flagship and outsmarted it. He glanced at Kalith, who now rested calmly, wings folding like a cloak of molten metal. The dragon's presence radiated power, trust, and a quiet confidence. This is only the beginning, Zane said aloud. We've shown them we're not easy to catch, but the real journey is still ahead. Kalitha's glowing eyes met his. Yes. But together we will shape what comes next. You are not just a human. You are my partner. And together we will change the rules of this galaxy. The freighter floated through the calm expanse, leaving the crippled flagship behind. Stars stretched endlessly, and Zane realized how vast the galaxy truly was. He had faced enemies he never imagined, relied on a creature thought to be myth, and survived. But he also knew danger would return, stronger and more cunning. They had won this battle, but the warlord and others like him would not give up easily. Zane tightened his grip on the controls, a determined glint in his eyes. Then we prepare, he said. We don't run, we don't hide. We fight smart, we fight together. Kalitha's mental voice hummed with agreement, the resonance of their bond filling the cockpit. Together, human, we will face whatever comes next. The galaxy will remember this day. As the freighter disappeared into the stars, Zane felt a surge of hope and power he had never known. He was no longer a simple mechanic. He was a strategist, a fighter, and a partner to a legendary creature. The galaxy might have been shocked, but this was only the first step. Many challenges awaited, but with Kalith by his side, Zane was ready to face them all. Zane stared out of the freighter's viewport, the stars stretching endlessly before him. Kalith lay coiled behind the cockpit, its scales glowing faintly in the dim light. The galaxy had grown quieter after the confrontation with the warlord, but Zane knew danger still lingered. They had survived, but the universe was vast, full of secrets and full of eyes that watched for weakness. We have done well, Kalith said in his mind, its voice calm but strong. but our work is not over. There are others like me, creatures captured or hunted, waiting for someone to act. Zane nodded, determination settling over him. Then we don't just survive. We protect them, he whispered. We show the galaxy what humans can do. Kalitha's eyes glimmered with approval. Yes. Together we can change things. Others will see us and understand. Humans are capable, inventive, and brave. Over the next weeks, Zane and Kalith traveled across uncharted systems. They rescued creatures hidden on mining planets, freed those held in secret laboratories, and protected entire habitats from poachers and warlords. Zane modified the freighter for each mission, reinforced hulls, stealth systems, and clever traps. Kalitha's fire and strength complemented every plan, their teamwork growing with every challenge. Word of their deeds spread slowly at first, whispers across trading posts and starports. Merchants spoke of a human who had outsmarted a powerful warlord, who traveled with a dragon and faced enemies no one dared to challenge. Alien species, once wary of humans, began to take notice. They saw ingenuity, courage, and compassion, traits that had often been underestimated in humanity. On one distant planet, Zane landed near a hidden grove where rare creatures were held. Kalith spread its wings to shield them from patrols while Zane worked to free the captives. As they escaped, the local species watched silently, their eyes wide with awe. No one had ever dared to challenge the poachers before. By the time the freighter disappeared into the stars, those creatures were safe, and the story of humans and dragons had grown. Each mission strengthened their bond. Zane no longer felt like a simple mechanic. He had become a protector, a strategist, and a symbol. Kalith trusted him completely, and Zane had learned to trust the dragon's instincts. Together they were stronger than any enemy, their skills and courage combining in ways that no single species could match. In the quiet moments between missions, Zane often reflected on how far they had come. A simple act, freeing a chained dragon, had sparked a chain of events that reshaped the galaxy. Humans were no longer just observers in the cosmic dance. They were players capable of clever strategy and bravery that could alter destinies. One evening, while orbiting a small, peaceful planet, Zane spoke aloud to Kalith. We've done more than survive. We've built something, a kind of family, a network of trust. Maybe even hope. Kalitha's glowing eyes reflected the stars as it replied, yes. Others will follow. Species that once feared humans will now see them as allies. We have created a bridge, a new alliance. Zane smiled. The freighter hummed beneath him, a steady rhythm of possibility. Across the galaxy, alliances were forming quietly. Humans were proving their worth, not through conquest or domination, but through intelligence, courage, and compassion. Kalith had helped show the galaxy a different side of humanity, one that could inspire hope and cooperation. As they prepared to leave orbit, sensors picked up distant ships. Zane studied the readings carefully. They were unmarked but not hostile, likely beings who had heard of their deeds and wanted to learn. Kalith rose slightly, wings stretching, sensing the newcomer's intentions. This is the start of something larger, it said. The galaxy is watching, and we have shown them that humans can make a difference. Zane tightened his grip on the controls, feeling a sense of pride and responsibility. Then let's keep going, he said. There's more to do. More lives to protect. More systems to change. Kalitha's low growl echoed through the freighter, warm and approving. Together they soared into the stars, a human and a dragon united in purpose. They traveled through systems untouched by warlords, saved creatures lost to greed, and inspired civilizations to act with intelligence and courage. The galaxy began to see humans not as weak or insignificant, but as inventive, brave, and capable of standing alongside the most powerful beings. Zane realized the truth of it. One small act of kindness, freeing a chained dragon, had started a ripple that could reshape the universe. As the freighter glided past a glowing nebula, Zane looked at Kalith. We've done more than survive. We've changed things, he said softly. Kalitha's eyes glimmered. Yes. And this is only the beginning. Together we will protect the galaxy and create a future where trust, courage, and intelligence define strength. Zane leaned back, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. They had faced impossible odds, survived battles that no one else could have, and built a bond that no one could break. The galaxy would never be the same. Humans had proven they could rise, adapt, and inspire, and Kalith had shown the power of trust between species. The stars stretched endlessly before them, full of promise and challenge. Zane's heart swelled with determination. Then let's keep moving, he said. Let's see who else needs our help. Kalitha's approving hum vibrated through the hall. Together they would face whatever came next, shaping the galaxy with courage, intelligence, and hope. A new alliance had begun, a partnership between human ingenuity and dragon strength. Across the stars, whispers of their deeds would inspire civilizations, change perceptions, and create a future full of possibility. Zane smiled, ready for every challenge. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was a protector, a leader, and part of something far greater than he had ever imagined. And as the freighter disappeared into the light of distant suns, the galaxy waited to see what humans and dragons could achieve, side by side, in a universe full of wonder, danger, and hope.